Hi, y'all. I'm Bridget Cutshall. Thank you for listening to Real Things Living. Today, my guest is Jesse Iwuji, and he has a phenomenal background. He is went to the United States Naval Academy, played football, and he's now a NASCAR driver. Jesse, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, most definitely. And thank you so much for having me on the show. So, yeah, I've gotten to do a lot of really cool stuff throughout my life and still more great things to come. But yeah, as you were just saying, I did go to Naval Academy. Originally, I'm from Dallas, Texas, and I grew up in Dallas my whole life. Both my parents immigrated from Nigeria to the U.S. back in the early 80s before having me and my two brothers and my sister here in Dallas. So we lived here pretty much our whole life. And towards the end of high school, I had this big goal and dream to go off to college and play college football. And I got the opportunity to actually go to the Naval Academy to play. They were recruiting me during my last couple years in high school. And for me, I just look at the opportunity as a great one to go to a really, really good school where I can get a great education, play great football for a great football team, and then also be able to serve in the United States Navy and be an officer. So it was a win in a lot of different ways, and I took that opportunity, and it's been great since. And the last 8 or 9 years now, it's been a really fun journey in the Navy. But also too, just a few years ago, as you touched on, I began this other crazy journey while still that was professional racing and racing in NASCAR.
So you must have wanted to do that when you were young, right? Is that what kind of drew you to it? I guess what attracted you to do NASCAR racing? I just think it's really cool that you did that because it definitely takes a lot of training. I would think a lot of training, right, and a lot of like I said, resilience. That's so important because you're always competing at different racetracks, different people, and I don't know. I just wanted to talk to you because it's so cool what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it does take a lot of resiliency for sure. And, especially for someone like me who didn't come from a racing family, it's not like I came from a background that was all about racing and, it's not like my dad or mom raced before and I was just getting into, what the family was doing. No one in my family's ever raced cars before, like ever. Honestly, I don't even know if any of my family has ever been over 100 miles per hour. So, you know,
Oh, that's
so,
funny.
so I was definitely the different one. And, something attracted me to racing. I've always loved football. Football is definitely, one of my most loved sports. But racing, cars and racing were also one of my number one things, too. So, for me growing up, I used to watch NASCAR races on TV when I was a kid. I have no clue why. They would be on TV and something would attract me to it. And I absolutely have no reason. Cause no reason. I don't know why. Because
Shiny
I never.
object, right? Shiny object when
Yeah.
you're a child.
Exactly. And, I never went to a NASCAR race while I was a child. My first NASCAR race that I ever went to was in 2014 in March at Auto
Wow.
Club Speedway. Yeah. So just about 5 years ago. But going to that race that weekend and some of the events that transpired that whole weekend is what led me to towards NASCAR. And that's what, really kind of opened my eyes to like, what, this is where I need to be. I see myself on that track. Like this is going to be, one of the last times I'm sitting in the stands watching the race. I'm going to be on the track after this, and that's what I set my eyes towards and my goals towards. And I've been grinding, for the last 4 or 5 years now, to bring this journey alive, to, get everything going and keep on grinding. And now, we're racing in the NASCAR Truck Series.
Wow, I didn't know that existed, to be honest with you. Uh,
Yeah.
I didn't. So, do you have to do a lot? I'm assuming there's a certain time frame for all what you said, the truck racing. Is there a certain uh, season for that, or is it mostly in the southern part of the United States? That's what I think of. I think of truck racing.
Yeah. Yeah. So NASCAR has multiple levels, right?
Okay.
So as you're working your way up through the ranks of NASCAR, there's multiple levels. So if you start really at the bottom level of NASCAR, which is where I started a few years ago, it's like NASCAR late models. right? So late model stock cars are cars that race at the short tracks of NASCAR, the ones
Okay.
you don't really see on TV. So they're all tracks that are anywhere from a quarter-mile oval all the way up to maybe a half-mile oval.
Okay.
And they're smaller tracks, and they're local series that run on an every week or 2-week basis or so. And none of it's really on TV ever. Now, once
Right.
you move up from there, you move up from late models to the NASCAR K&N series. The NASCAR K&N series is a more regional series that does race on TV, but they race at all those same local tracks and then a few bigger NASCAR tracks. And then once you move up from the NASCAR K&N series, you move up now to the national series level of NASCAR. And the national series is the top 3 levels of NASCAR, which is the NASCAR Truck Series, NASCAR Xfinity Series, and NASCAR Cup
Okay.
Series, which is the top. So now that I've moved up to the Truck Series, now I'm in basically the top series of NASCAR. I would say the top 3 series of NASCAR.
Wow. That's
So
impressive.
yeah. So from here, I have 2 more steps before I reach the actual top level of NASCAR.
That's still amazing. So, and you're living on the West Coast now?
Yes, yeah. So
Okay.
living in West Coast, California. Main reason I'm there is just because my Navy stuff. Once I graduated the Naval Academy, I was stationed in San Diego for 4 years, and then I was stationed in Monterey, California for about 2.5, and then I've been stationed in Ventura, California, for the last few years.
Okay. So that's we have a lot in common, actually, a little bit, because my stepfather was in the military, but he went to West Point. So
Oh wow!
yeah, he's a West Pointer. So I lived in Monterey for a little bit, but I left really quickly when I knew he was going to be stationed in Africa. He was like an officer learning Arabic, but he never really took us to any like racing. But I grew up also mostly in Georgia, and there's a lot of racing down here, as you know. a
Oh yeah.
lot of a lot of it. And one of my husband's good friends, hockey friend, my husband's a hockey player. He has a company that builds fiberglass race cars.
Oh, okay, nice.
Here in North Georgia. So I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that do what he does. But what you're doing is really brave, and I think being probably military training, I think probably helped you. I really truly think so. Focus a little bit more, and maybe that's just my biased opinion.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I mean, the military has helped me a lot. It's helped me with the time management, stress management side,
Right.
project management. Being able to present my case, to people, and it's helped me in a lot of different ways. Like the training I received at the Naval Academy, and while also being in the Navy, and just all the experiences I've had, have helped me in so many different ways for what I do right now in NASCAR and also in the business world too.
Right. This is all the skills you're learning is going to be applicable, right, to business. I do you have your own business? Or I thought you were involved with something else, business wise.
Yeah. So not only do I have the racing side of my life, I also have like an entrepreneurship side. So also when I had started racing about 4 years ago or so in 2015, I began my first business to help raise, money basically for myself so that I could be
Right.
able to race. So what I was doing was I would rent out drag strips and put on events. Yeah, I would put on events
Oh,
and
wow.
people would bring their cars out, and you could bring out any car. I mean, you could bring out a Corvette, Camaro, Mustang, import car, whatever. I mean, I've had Lamborghinis at the races. I've had everything, and you can bring out your own car, race it for fun on a drag strip, and then go home. And people really enjoyed it. So the business started really taking off, and had a lot of people start coming to the events, and the social media side of it grew a lot. And
Wow.
all that together has been pretty profitable each year, which has allowed me to have money to actually go and race, when I didn't have sponsorships in place.
Right. Right. Your story is just, I like like I keep saying resilience, but you also have tenacity too. You have a focus, and you know how to get there, right? You know what to, but we're all gonna make mistakes too, right? And I think that is important to learn and not to feel bad when you do make a mistake.
Yeah,
Uh,
and that's what I tell people all the time is, it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to have issues. It's okay to fail. It just pushes you to be great. Like failure doesn't mean that you've lost. Like you you don't ever lose. Honestly, there is no real way the only way to lose is when you quit. Like if you don't
Right.
quit, you won't lose. Like life will give you success. Life wants you to succeed, but it will make it hard for you. And it's only making it hard to help get you strong enough to hold the success that's gonna come, after. So you gotta look at it like working out, right? Like if you go and work out, like it's painful. It sucks. You're
Yeah.
hot, you're sweaty, your muscles are burning, all that stuff. But it's doing it because it's making you stronger so that in the end you'll be what you want to be, in shape,
Right.
right? But at first you got to endure that pain. And some people, in the business world, they forget that. They're willing to go and work out and feel pain to get to the end. But when it comes to business, the moment they feel pain, they want to quit. I was like, do you quit in the middle of
You
your
have to, right.
your push-ups or your bench press or your run? Some people do. And I tell people, like, if I'm ever working out with someone and they're quitting in the middle of something, I get on them pretty hard. I'm like, don't quit, because this is going to translate to anything in life. Like, you got to keep translating the same exact concepts between everything you do in life, and you're going to succeed, and it's okay to have issues. It's okay to fail. It's okay to do all that stuff. Just keep pushing forward.
I also got from my stepfather, also asked us, what'd you learn from something? You got to make sure, you know, reflect a little bit too. I think that's important, and then not do that mistake again. If,
Yeah.
if it depends on what the mistake is, right? And
Yeah.
I totally understand the working out thing. I'm in my age. I love running still, and I'm crazy. I'm in my 50s. Who cares? But I like it.
Yeah, that's
And
good.
I literally get the runner's high from it. But it makes me feel better in the long run. And,
Yeah.
but I never, you know, sometimes I couldn't do running sometimes, but I've always made time for it, and focusing on what's important, I think, is what you're doing, which I think is what makes life what I call real things living, is focusing what's important to you. Do you have, trying to think, your brothers and your sister, are they helping you at all in anything? I'm just curious how the family is interacting with your racing.
Yeah. So on the racing side, no, all they do is just support and come to the races if they can and all that
Clap,
stuff.
right?
Yeah. But they're doing great too. I mean, both of my brothers and my sister, they all of us went to college. All of us went to college on athletic scholarships. All of us graduated college. All of us are doing great things. My sister's a nurse. Both of my brothers are medical device salesmen. So they're doing great in
Awesome.
their industries. And with some money that they've saved up from the business or from the careers that they're in, they were able to invest in my second business that I started about a year ago, which is a trucking company, and they were able to invest in that to help. They wanted to make extra money too, so they're like, hey, we got money sitting in the bank.
Gotcha.
Sitting in the bank isn't going to make us anything, so I'm like, yeah, let's put it into something so that you can actually make money off of that and not sit there and look at your money every day.
Right. So the trucking companies that you're talking like logistics, I guess?
Truck,
Or
yeah,
I
semi
gotcha.
trucks. We mainly
Right.
do work with Amazon.
Oh, wow. That's a serious opportunity for you. I mean, you're
It
really,
is. It's been
that's,
really good. I mean, ever since we latched on with Amazon, I mean, everything is pretty much boomed. I mean, we were, yeah, it's let's just say originally before we were with Amazon, we were on track to make a certain amount, and ever since we jumped on with Amazon, it has that whatever we thought we were going to make at the end of the year has quadrupled.
wow. That's
So
amazing that you've been able to partner with somebody that large.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. They have a pretty good program for trucking companies. They're doing a lot with smaller trucker companies. I guess normally some big companies will do things with some of the bigger trucking companies like JB Hunt and Swift and Knight
right.
Transportation and all them, CH Robinson. But then Amazon was like, no, we're not gonna do anything with y'all. We're not gonna do a lot with y'all. At least we're gonna start partnering up with all these smaller businesses, these small businesses, and help those guys out because they're easier to work with and all that stuff and more flexible. And it's worked for Amazon. So Amazon has a lot of different carriers that run with them. We're just one of them, and we've gotten a lot of good business from them.
That's great. I mean, I didn't know that aspect, so that's really cool. And you're definitely determined to and very focused to make this stuff happen. Do you have? I like to look at the younger people, right, and how we help them and mentor them. So, what do you have advice for someone who's in like high school or just starting college? Do you have any, because it keeps changing, by the way, everything.
Yeah.
So you got to be flexible. That's my only advice to the
Yeah,
younger
yeah,
people.
yeah. So, what I like to tell folks is, everything is changing, right? So there will I'm definitely a advocate for school. I think everyone should go to high school, graduate high school. I
Right.
think everyone do your best to try to go to college and get through all 4 years of college and graduate. But this is what I like to tell people too on that same exact note. Try to go to college and get your degree, but like when you're getting a degree, don't sit there and get in the mindset of your exact degree is what you are exactly going to go after and do. Like I tell people
Perfect.
that's completely wrong. Like just go learn skills and concepts in college. That's all you need to do. You're not going to like I took calculus 1, calculus 2, calculus 3, physics 1, physics 2, thermodynamics,
Right.
mechanical engineering, statics, and a lot of those kind of classes. Those are classes I took, differential equations, all that stuff in college. Am I going to remember any of that? Heck no, I'm not going to remember any of that. But I learned certain skills and concepts. I learned how to manage myself, when projects came. I learned how to, work with groups when we had group things. I learned how to write. I learned how to use PowerPoint and Excel and build formulas in Excel and stuff like that. I learned all these different skills and concepts that will help you out in the long run with whatever you do in life. So you don't worry about like, oh man, I got a C in calculus. Okay, who cares? Like just what kind
Right.
of basic skills did you learn
Right.
from? That's what you're going to apply. Honestly, in life, like I look back on it, and really the only education I really needed was all the way up through 8th grade. That's probably what I really honestly needed.
Right.
I didn't need anything else after that. But I learned a lot of cool concepts and skills that I can apply to be just a little bit better than someone else. So that's what I tell people. Make sure you just learn those skills and concepts. Don't worry about your degree. Don't be like, oh yeah, I have to go after this certain degree because that's what I'm going to do when I got. No, like people in the regular world, like once you get out to corporate America, if you're going to go work for people or whatever, they don't care. Like they don't care what your degree was because your little
No.
bachelor degree isn't specialized. So
No.
what do they care about? They just care that you graduated. Did you
That's
graduate?
right. You
Cool.
finished.
You
Right.
finish. So you basically you're finishing proof, which is your bachelor degree. That just shows a company that you're capable of thinking a little bit more critically than high schooler, and that you can actually finish something. You can be given a task, which is get through 4 years of school, do it right, and graduate. You can do that, and you can handle that. So that just shows them that you're able to do that. That's all it does. So
Right.
don't get all hung up on the, oh man, my degree, blah, blah, blah. Just go graduate,
Right. Do it and
learn
go to the next thing and use that,
it.
apply those skills, right?
Experience is a
Yeah.
lot more important than that, because once you get your degree, you need to go out and experience things. Go work for this, go work for that, go work for different places, and don't be afraid to work for free. Like it's okay to
Right.
go work. A lot of people get hung up sometimes on, oh, once I graduate, I need to immediately work and make money, and if you're not willing to pay me $100,000 right out of school, then I'm not going to work for you. Well,
I know that's so unrealistic.
yeah, it's like you're not going to learn things. Sometimes you just need to go learn things. And
Right.
then once you learn a lot of things, then you can go demand that $100,000 a year, or 150 or 200,000 or whatever. But be willing to work for free just so you can learn things. Like I do that all the time. Like even with our trucking company, I haven't taken a dime out of it to pay myself, and I spend like anywhere from, I used to spend about 6 to 9 hours a day on it. Now I'm more spending like maybe 2 hours or so, 2 to 3 hours max a day on it. But like I haven't paid myself for it. A lot of people will be like, oh, I'm not going to do it unless I get paid. Well, okay, then you're not going to learn and gain experience. And then
Right.
eventually you're going to be still sitting in the same position that you were while I went and worked for free, learned a lot of stuff, and I can apply it to other things now and make way more money.
Right. Right. That is some great advice, is to be engaged with life. That's again, be engaged with life, be focused on that, and learn those skills how you can apply to other things. And I think analytical skills are, I know I shouldn't say analytical, but being personal skills are important too, how to deal with people. I
So
think that,
personal skills,
yeah,
networking,
yeah,
psychology, like being able to understand the human psyche, like how people, boys and girls, how they operate, how they work,
hmm,
what tingles certain emotions for people. You got to learn how to group people too.
right,
Not
right,
everybody is the same, and it has nothing to do with like color or religion or whatever. Some of that stuff plays into it. Some of that stuff will play into it just because of certain cultural differences. But for the most part, there's certain groups of people in the world. And it's not like a million different groups. There's only a few different groups. You gotta learn
right,
who falls into whatever categories. And then once you learn who falls into certain categories, you know how you can treat that person and what their language is that you have to speak to them to get them to do what you need them to do or work with you. And if you don't
right,
understand language, you'll never get it to happen. And if you can't get it to happen, you'll never lead people. You'll never be able to work with people. You'll never be really successful. I mean, successful people know how to engage and work with people
right.
and get a group to go a certain direction. If you can get to do that, all you gotta do is learn everyone's languages.
And I think your family background, you're basically a first generation American, and I am too.
Hmm.
My mother's from France, and my father was in the military, and my real dad. But I learned how to adjust myself, right? Because I lived in the South with a woman who spoke,
Hmm.
I had to learn to adjust, and I became very empathetic for people as well who were different. And I'm sure that you probably did as well. But I do think your background helps you a lot to be have those social skills that some people need to work on. Sorry, that's just
Yeah, yeah. No, definitely for sure. And everyone's different. Some people are introverts, some people are extroverts.
right,
Also, I would say I was naturally normally like a more introverted type person. I like to kind of stay to myself, and you
right.
know, and I'm the type of person who, the first 3 hours, 4 hours in the morning, I really don't want to talk to anybody, but I do. I have to. So I got to make it happen.
You have
Yeah,
to. Usually, the
move and shift
introverts are
the
the
world.
best. The best to me, introverts are the best at communicating with other people because they listen. That's important
Mm-hmm.
too.
Yeah, that's the thing is when you can listen because you first got to be able to understand what's coming from the other person so you can know how to react to it. If you come out guns blazing, you might
Yes,
realize at the end when they start speaking that, wait, hold on, like I didn't even need to come guns blazing. And now you just screwed up the whole thing. But
right.
first, you let them do their thing. You first fill them out, let them throw every punch that they have. Once you let them throw every punch that they have, you know everything that they have, and now you can attack. But how can you
Right.
attack if you didn't know what was going to happen?
That's great. I think it's so great that you're doing all this stuff. And I know we're running out of time here, but I again appreciate what you're doing. And what is your go back to the NASCAR thing? When is your next race? I'm just curious.
Yeah, so 2019 season's over right now. 2020 season begins in February. We're aiming to try to run Daytona, which is the first race of the year. It's all dependent on sponsorship and what we find for that. But yeah, the whole game, the whole year, it's all based on sponsorship. So, my goal is I would love to run a lot more races than we did in 28 or 2019. So, if we can go out there and run 30 races this year, between, NASCAR Truck Series, NASCAR Xfinity Series, all that stuff, that would be amazing. That's my goal. Will we hit that? Who knows? We'll find out. I mean, I just got to work hard and grind, and whatever happens, happens. But that's my goal.
That is so great, and I know you're going to do well. I can just know that. I just know that. So I think it's fantastic. And thank you again so much for your time, Jesse.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And
All right.
if everyone wants to find out where they can follow me, just head to social media, type in my name, Jesse Iwuji. That's JESSEIWUJI.
Thank you again so much. Have a great holiday, everybody.